It being 10:30, I'd like to call the meeting of the Great Lafourche Port Commission of October 10th, 2018 to order. Mr. Henri Boulet, will you leave us a pledge of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. I'd like to remind you, please turn your cell phones down. Next is roll call. Mr. Sheremy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Seat A, Chucky Sherman here. Seat B, Perry Gisclair.
Here.
Seat C, Chris Godet.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Here.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Here.
Seat G, John Melisson.
Here.
Seat H, Jimmy Guidry. Absent. Seat I, Randy Adams.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheremy. Next is approve the minutes of the September 12th, 2018 regular meeting.
Yeah.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Melisson. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved, motion carries. Next is Executive Director's report. Mr. Shelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion projects. Northern Expansion Slip C 939-foot West Sweep Dredge Project, Angela Picciola.
Yes, this project is complete. The punch list is complete. It came off public notice for the lien-free certificate on the 5th of the month. Usually takes a week or 2 weeks to get the lien-free certificate. So next month we will have the approval of the lien-free certificate plus payment of retainage.
Any question? Thank you, Mr. Larry.
The Northern Expansion Slip C 1,671-foot East Bulkhead, Picciola and Associates.
Yes, Crosby Dredging is the contractor. They scheduled to complete the project in the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the weather. They're doing painting right now, installing some of the timber cap, bringing in lightweight aggregate, bringing in limestone aggregate. So they have a whole lot of processes going on in attempts to try to complete the project. They are behind schedule.
Any questions for Joe? Thank you.
Northern Expansion Slip C 1,671-foot East Sweep Dredging Project.
Magnolia Dredge and Dock is the contractor. The contract documents are complete. We've scheduled a pre-construction meeting with them tomorrow afternoon. In that meeting, we'll discuss the notice to proceed and the coordination with them getting started and with Crosby's completion of the bulkhead.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
I just wanted to make mention in conjunction with those two 1,671-foot projects, both the sweep dredging and the bulkhead, we received good bids. So we have in our port priority application and project, we have about $2.7 million available. So we are working, in fact, I will be completing a letter this afternoon to send to DOTD to request the use of those funds on further bulkhead and dredging. Okay, so that's good. We're $2.7 million ahead. It's a good thing. Okay, next is the mitigation dredge of Slip D. J. Wayne Plaisance, engineers.
Okay, this project is in the lien-free period. It should come off in the next week or so. So next month, y'all will be approving the final payment, and we'll have one minor change order for some additional days.
Any questions for John?
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay, airport projects. Richard.
Yes, September's a decent month. We had 2,476 operations. We had 11,501 passengers and 19,113 vehicles. That's right.
Okay.
The taxiway LED project, I just got an email, a text actually, that showed Sun Industries is on site today, and they're doing the earthwork that we were having as one of the punch list items. So that is going to be finished today. The sign manufacturer, Heather Klingman and I from DDG, met with the sign manufacturer on October 4th, and they concurred that the sign faces need to be replaced. So they're working on that, and we are withholding approximately $2,500 worth of fee until we get those sign faces replaced.
And then further on the agenda later, we have to approve the clear lien certificate for that project.
Go ahead, sorry. Airfield drainage improvements, DDG continues to work on those design plans that ultimately are going to remove the water from the south side of the airport. I have no further update on that project.
All right. We have the airport access road culvert improvements, PCL and Associates.
Yes, we accepted bids on September the 19th. Barney Talbot Contractor was the low bidder in the amount of $436,611. We are recommending to award, I guess pending approval of DOT portion of the funding.
Question. What was the, your budget estimate?
I think we were just under the budget. Our budget was probably around $450,000.
Thank you.
Any other question? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, the runway approach easement we've been talking about, we've spoken to the landowner, and we're working up the agreements for us to have basically access in perpetuity to cut the trees at the level we need them to have safe runway easement.
You said it, Chad.
All right. And then the Airport Capital Improvement Program application. Go ahead, Ricky.
Okay, we've got, in the year 2019, you guys are going to be looking at this and approving it later on today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects shown. I'll try to be real quick. We've got a terminal design project that we're going to self-fund for $200,000 slated for 2019. Airfield drainage improvements construction, that's the project I just spoke about that we're doing the design for this year. We've got $210,000. That will come out of FAA funds, $189,000. The rest we're asking from the LADOTD, so that will be a zero out-of-pocket project if it goes the way we plan. The runway 8 obstruction removal design, the easement that we just talked about, we're going to be cutting some trees next year. We've got, this is the design to locate those trees. We're looking at a $40,000 project. 36 will come out of our FAA funds and 4,000 will come out of our pocket. The airfield pavement rehabilitation design. This is a project that we're looking to kind of like an investment project. If we can get a shovel-ready project ready in 2019, we may be eligible for some additional funds, and that's the project shown underneath it, which is the airfield pavement rehabilitation construction. The design at $60,000 would be $40,000. That would be out. We're asking for the LADOTD for that and $20,000 out of our pocket. And the $1 million, $100,000 project would be if we do qualify for that additional minibus funding, that would be the project right there. So just to give you guys some details on that. If you all have any questions on the airport stuff?
Thank you, Richard.
All right.
Okay, Richard. Okay, other projects. First, the Section 203 feasibility study, GIS engineering, Dustin Marlboro, taking the long stroll up.
That was good timing. I wasn't planning that way, though. Thank you, Chet. So a brief update. I think I was here 2 weeks ago. Told you we had submitted the report both to the Corps and our IEPR team. They're conducting a concurrent review. We'll have a public meeting here. I think it's in about 2.5 weeks here in the boardroom. Where we'll present the project to anyone that wants to come in and listen in and provide any feedback. We'll document that meeting, and that'll go into the record as far as public comments are concerned. It's also being published currently in the libraries in Lafourche Parish. It was published in the newspapers, the Courier, the Advocate, and the Gazette. The Gazette. So we held a meeting, so that's on the public side for the EIS. We held a meeting with our IEPR team last week where they presented to us a list of about 27 questions or clarifications, not really questions or comments on the report, but one where they had a brief introduction to the report and any clarifications that they needed. We've drafted our responses to that. We plan to submit that today after Joni and I sit down after this meeting to go over what those responses are, and then expect to get comments, what they call the mid-review comments back from them in about a week and a half. And then we'll go a little back and forth, try to resolve those comments, hopefully come to resolution, and have a final IEPR report submitted back to us by November 6th. So that's the kind of the time frame we're looking at. At the same time, I believe the public review period is going to end about that time, November 7th, November 8th. And we'll have that 45 days before the end of the year to wrap up any loose ends, make any modifications to the report or the EIS based upon those comments or those reviews, and then seal it up and send it on to the ASA. That's kind of the status as we're at in right now in the review process.
And we have the public meeting will be on Thursday, October 25th, in this office, in this room at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
To 5? I think it's, 5 to 7. It's an open house kind of review of the, public review of the EIS. Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I know we have it up here, and we're looking at it, just 2 or 3 feasibility stuff.
Yep.
But would you
Explain what that is.
explain to the rear and what we're looking at on both sides?
Yeah, so
the channel.
on that picture that's on the TV screen there, you can see on the back side is Port Fourchon. And you can see it's, on the right side of the screen is Old Pass Fourchon with the East Slip development that going up by Lafourche to Flotation Canal to Slip A, B, C, and D. So that's the section of the port as part of this 203 feasibility study. Bayou Lafourche, where it intersects with Port Fourchon and Old Pass Fourchon, where it intersects with Belle Pass and Old Pass Fourchon, Bayou Lafourche would go to 30 feet and up into Flotation Canal into the northern expansion of Slip A, B, C, and D, 30 feet there. From the intersection of Bayou Lafourche, Old Pass Fourchon, and Belle Pass, going south to the 50-foot contour in the Gulf would be the deep water port area, and that would be up to 50 feet of draft with a 400 to 475 foot width of channel width. On the Fourchon Island side, which is the right side of the screen, is a deep water drill ship, drilling rig facility that is potential. That's what we're marketing as that site. And then on the west side of that channel, if we do get to 50 feet, so that's an LNG facility on the west side of the channel. It's currently slated to be 2 million ton per annum if it gets approved by FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, Mr. Millisov.
Thank you.
With our current water depths. If we do get to 50 feet, which we plan to do, they can increase it to 5 million ton per annum. And that would be, again, on the west side, that west bank would be an LNG facility. All right. Is that what you?
Yes,
Right.
you know, we threw a picture up there, but
Right.
at the same time,
Right.
we'd like to explain these things, exactly what went in. And that LNG facility is a $900 million project.
Correct.
You know, that Energy World has committed to.
Private investment.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
What phase are they in on that?
They're still in the pre-filing phase with FERC on the LNG side. They just recently did soil borings just a couple weeks ago. So they're getting their data together to finalize their engineering to submit to FERC and move things forward.
And time frame, how will it go as far as permitting?
You're looking at between now and a couple years, okay? And then once that's ultimately approved, the project's approved, then it'll be a couple years of construction.
Okay.
So we're looking at 4 to 5 years before operation of the facility.
And one other question, as they prepare and do their engineering, they're going to engineer with the anticipation that we'll be at 50 feet, I'm assuming, so that they can,
Yes.
that bulkhead will be able to sustain.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, sir.
All right. LA 308 Airport Access Improvements. Joe, PCL and Associates.
Yes, we received bids on this project on September 12th. Beverly Construction Company LLC was the low bidder in the amount of $920,014. We have gotten approval from EDA, and last night the Parish Council did approve awarding the project.
Okay.
So once we get the contract signed, we'll issue a notice to proceed, have a pre-construction meeting, and get started fairly quickly.
Yeah, and you just mentioned the Lafourche Parish government, just to make it clear, we do this several times throughout the year as we get updates. This is a Lafourche Parish government project that the Port Commission has partnered with them on, so we're happy that it's moving forward.
The Port is putting up $100,000, the parish is putting up some $350,000, and the rest is put up by federal economic development grant project.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. All right, LA1 Phase 2 Leeville Mitigation Dredge, Angelette Picciola.
Okay, this project is still ongoing. They have not completed their punch list yet. So they were supposed to do it about a month ago, and they did not have their access permit for ConocoPhillips that had expired. They reapplied. They're still working on that now. We're still holding the retainage. They wanted to get their punch list complete. They got half the punch list done. Is the other half where they have to bring in a little dredge, and is the damage they did to the marsh in that area is the problem. The project is complete. We have the project, but it's ConocoPhillips and DNR wants them to repair what the damage they did.
Okay.
Mr. Larry,
Yes, sir.
how much time has passed since the substantial completion certificate?
The substantial completion certificate was by the middle of May, and we got a certificate the first week in by the middle of July. So it's been 60, 90 days since we've been playing with this thing.
And what would our recourse be if they don't complete this project?
Well, right now we have, the retainage we have is like $35,000 retainage that you wouldn't have to pay for them. It was on the punch list, and we still have their bond is in effect for another year for a performance, their performance bond. We can go to the bond company to make them come and correct everything. So we have $35,000 plus, as a backup, we have the bond company.
So it looks like, excuse me, Mr. Adams, I'm sorry. Does it look like they're going to complete this project anytime soon, or it's weather delays? I mean, we've been talking about this for quite a while.
Right, they've been waiting. They have to bring in a little dredge and take some material and put it in the buggy tracks, which they damaged and the marsh went away. They're waiting for a low tide to be able to leave that, make sure the material stays there. They said they did it one time. I questioned that, but they said they pumped it in one time and it washed away with the high tides. But they're going to be coming back in. They want to wait until this weekend if they would have their permit in place. Would be a good weekend with this northerner coming through to drop the tides. So I do think they're going to complete it, but I don't know. I hope in the next month we'll be complete.
Thank you, Mr. Picciola. I'll turn it over to Mr. Adams now.
Yeah, so what T. John was inferring, at what point do we start looking at options? You know, how long we're gonna let this drag?
I would think we give, with the fall coming on and low tides, if he doesn't get there this month, then I think we need to start talking to him.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. And Fouchon Island soil borings.
Did the same thing Monday night. This project is complete. The borings are done. I'm meeting with Eustis at 10 o'clock on Friday to discuss the borings, to work towards a path forward, so we can start moving this project, not project, but starting to get some ideas of what we're going to be up against. I took a glance at some of the very preliminary borings. We're not any worse off than we were we were on the other side of the slip D. In fact, I think we're better than that. In some places, it's very good. So it's
And I think
more
Mr.
encouraging.
Mellison brought up a good point. Monday, we were discussing that Energy World is taking saw borings on the other side, and we have saw borings that we have taken that at one point we can put all three together and compare the area.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, Nerby Collins Marina Boat Lift Extension, J. Wayne Plaisance.
We took bids on this project on October the 4th. The low bidder was Gulf Island Services LLC in the amount of $114,267. The bid was in order. We recommend awarding that bid, and that's going to be later on in your agenda.
Any questions? Thank you, John.
All right, public boat launch bulkhead repairs.
We took bids on that project on September the 20th. The low bidder was Plaisance Dragline in the amount of $78,360. Their bid also was in order, and that will also be on your agenda later on.
All right,
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
thank you. Roadway and parking lot markings, Davy.
We have two projects, one in Fouchon, which will be redoing the double yellow lines in the entire court, and pavement markings is going to be doing that. They're actually looking at coming in tomorrow, taking advantage of the dry weather. And then we're doing another project with MJR line striping. They're going to restripe the parking lots here in this office and our office next week. And that's scheduled for the 10th, 11th.
Good.
All right, now the next two items are April, come up. Well, April's coming up, just real briefly, I didn't tell y'all last week, but she and Troy and Scott are actually going to be going and help teach one night of a class at Nicholls State University. It's a criminal justice class that Mike Hebert, who's works for U.S. Customs, he actually teaches a class at Nicholls, a criminal justice class. So they're going to show them some generic stuff on our C4 system to show these criminal justice majors about types of systems and security systems and safety systems that we have in place at the port, and just kind of get their minds thinking about that kind of stuff. So it's real nice that he asked them to go and do that.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're planning our strategy tomorrow. They're giving us 2 hours. So, in reference to the CCTV project for Slip B gaps, we are receiving bids on the equipment tomorrow at 2 p.m. here. I've had several inquiries, so I'm expecting several bids. On the Bell Pass structure project, the renovation, the first step is to review the structural analysis of the pilings, the platform, and the tower. Getting the scope of work together, I should have that this afternoon, and then we'll review that internally and come back to y'all with a plan.
Any questions? Thank you, Jim.
Okay, moving on to update from the LA1 Coalition. Henri Boulet.
Good morning. In September, the coalition formally requested Governor Edwards consider funding the LA1 project Segment C in Golden Meta with the state's recently acknowledged fiscal year 18 state surplus. I worked with Senator Chabert and Representative Justclair to gain letters of support on our request. While the governor's office is working on prioritizing a list of state projects, the projects to be funded will require legislative approval, which is a few months away. This segment is 3/4 of a mile long, has an estimated cost of $37.8 million, and includes construction of a T-wall in the levee under where the road will pass over the levee. The request listed several reasons why this is a timely investment for the state. The coalition is also continuing to work with area legislators on a funding plan that will build out Phase 2. Specific legislation next session will be needed to provide necessary state funds for the administration to apply for a matching USDOT grant. We continue to need approximately $300 to $340 million, depending on if the governor elects to fund Segment C with surplus funds. The coalition has also conveyed the high water conditions LA1 is currently under to the governor's office and the DOTD secretary, so that the elevating of the highway remains a pressing need for state funding needs. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Henri.
Okay, on the public comment, before we see if there's any folks in there, I just wanted, Henri mentioned where we are with elevated waters. I just want to talk real briefly about Hurricane Michael, which unfortunately is hitting the Gulf Coast now and into the next few hours, several hours and days. We did have some impacts last night. There were state police, sheriff's office, harbor police out there throughout the night monitoring the water levels. There was a period of time where, and numerous units were on that stretch between Golden Meadow and Leeville, making sure public safety was being adhered to. Around 11:30 last night until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock this morning, there's a period of time where cars were not able to drive on the road, but truck traffic was able to drive on the road safely. So that there was still traffic, but no low cars were able to drive. So between 11:30 and 3:30 or 4, that happened, and then high tide was about 1:45. So we kind of anticipated that peak in tides and that it could have some impact like that. And then immediately when high tide peaked, it started coming down around 4 o'clock. It was able to be traveled. As of right now, there is no water on the roadway. We don't anticipate anything this evening because of the north winds coming in, but we are prepared just in case, and we'll be ready if the tides look like they're going to be higher again. High tide tonight is about 12:30 or so, so we'll be monitoring that very closely.
They had some delays yesterday working on that sign. Is that still going on or not?
There is still work going on the sign. That's some DOTD.
It's just bad time.
Yeah, those road signs on kind of passing through. And yeah, they were still working around 5:15 yesterday, and it caused some backups.
A lot of traffic.
And I think that caused some concern for some of the drivers for sure in that area as the tide was coming up.
And they had a good bit of trash on the road too.
Right. Okay, so further public comment. I know we have a couple.
Can I request a feasibility study on the GIS for the?
Absolutely. You want it after the meeting? Or you want it now?
Wait, hang on.
No, wait.
We're not even finished.
It's not.
It's not finished.
I thought you meant the beginning copy. Well, whatever we have, you can have. There's no doubt.
Okay. The other one, I would also like to request the transport for the airport, transportation for the airport back and forth. I'd like to get a copy of that also.
The data,
Right.
Yeah.
What he just, okay?
And I may be incorrect on the 2 or 3. We may not be in that. We can give you what we got. And I don't know if we have any.
Daniel.
It's the EIS is on public notice. We have a CD of that. We can give you the EIS. The feasibility report itself is not finalized. So it's not on.
So when you tell me you can give me what you got, they presented to you what you got, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we can give you the EIS that's on public notice, which is the environmental impact statement of the overall project, is what we can give you. Yep. Okay.
Daniel?
I'd like to talk about the garbage tax, if you like. Daniel Lorraine, 134 East 176, Parish Council, District 9. First of all, I want to take a little time to congratulate all the ones that were reinstated to the port without opposition. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the ones that are running, good luck. And somebody's going to win. But anyway, what I'm here today, I'm going to take this opportunity to ask y'all to consider looking at this 3/10 on the garbage tax. In 1986, when Perry Gisclair was when I was on the council with Perry Gisclair,
we were able to pass a 1-cent sales tax throughout the parish, including Lockport and Golden Meadow, but not Thibodeau. At that time, Thibodeau didn't want to come with the parish. So we did that, and we were successful. If y'all remember, back in them days, you used to pay on the water bill and so much a month, depending on where you were at, depending on what the millage brought in, the property tax. What we did, once that sales tax passed, we did away with the property tax. It vanished. And then the people were paying the sales tax. So what happened in 1996, there was a $17 million surplus. So Mr. Aaron Caillouet, who happens to be deceased, decided to talk to the council and let's roll back 3/10 of a penny and just collect 7/10, because they were trying to pass a tax for the roads at that time. Thought maybe if you give and take, but it didn't work out, it failed. So we rolled it back, and the bonding attorney told me, he says, that'll probably last about 20 years, because you're going to tap into that surplus. Because from 1986 till now, you got a lot more houses, a lot more people, a lot more collection. It costs us more money. We're bringing in about $6.2 million a year on the sales tax, and the contract price is about $8 million. We just recently added $1 million to finish the end of the year with the BP funds. So now we're asking the people to reinstate the 3/10. One thing I want to make clear, this is not a new tax. This is a tax that was passed by the people in 1986. Some people are still living, some people are deceased. Some people voted for it, some people voted against it. But it's a sales tax. And it includes Golden Meadow and Lockport. And we're asking the people to consider that. Just think about the $66 million that we did not collect in 20 years. Give it back to the people. Now we're in a bind. The economy looks like it's getting a little stable. We're just asking for something we already had to replace it. Since '86, there's more entities that went for sales tax, so it's up. But it'll still be under 10 cents, right at, in the South Lafourche area. And we went to the legislature thinking that they would let us, the council made that decision, but they said that we had to go back to the people, which I think was unfair, but we have to abide by what they told us we had to do. And the alternative that we have is putting it back as a user fee. But the problem with that is, you also got to go to the people, whether it's the one we have now or a new one. You still got to go to the public. So if they don't support the 3/10, I don't think they're going to support the user fee. But that's just my opinion. It would be so much easier to put back the 3/10. And some people keep saying it's a new tax, and I'm going to say it again. It's something we already had. And if we do go with the user fee, the town of Lockport and Golden Meadow, we have to create a new district, and they will not be able to join us. So they would be in a big bind compared to the bind we're going to be in. Now, if it doesn't pass, we can still operate, but you're going to have a lot less services. Probably bulky waste that you put on the side of the road, the trees and this and that, you're probably going to have to bring that to the landfill yourself. There's going to be a lot of cutbacks, plenty, to make it within that $6 million. It's not easy, but it's up to the people. And whoever wants to vote for it, fine. Whoever wants to vote against it, fine. But it would be so much easier if we can get this through. And this is something we need, and I hate taxes. I'm like everybody else. Nobody likes taxes. But let me say this. Without any taxes, you ain't going to do anything. That's just the way it works. But anyway, y'all play a big role in this. The port is the engine of the parish. And I just hope the people consider it.
It's going to be on the upcoming ballot?
Oh, sorry. It's going to be on the November 6th ballot, and early voting starts October the 23rd to the 30th.
Correct.
And this election's on a Tuesday, because it's federal. So thank you, Larry, for reminding me of that. I can't give you the number because we don't have a number on that one. Just vote yes.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel.
All right, man.
Any other public comment? Nope.
My name is Dickie Sherman. I'm on Port Commission G. On the Nebby Collins dock, I see y'all got a lift there, y'all want to be putting it up. Would y'all mind telling me exactly what the lift is going to be for?
What the lift is for?
Yeah.
Immediately, it's for an agreement we have with Chevron because the bridge is gone. So Chevron's going to park a boat there and transport their employees only to the pipeline facility that does not have any road access anymore. If and when a new bridge is built and that vessel no longer needs that lift, it'll be our lift for our boat that we're going to need to be getting new vessels as we keep growing.
And when y'all got the grant for that Nebby Collins repair, the bugheads and all, was that not for commercial fishermen only?
So the bulkhead repair, we received some CDB dollars from the parish for the bulkhead, correct? Chevron's not using the bulkhead.
I'm not saying they're using the bulkhead, but they're using that marina, which is a commercial fishing marina.
Correct, but where they're using, the facility they're using, that location is in a commercial fisherman's marina, yes. But the dollars that were used were only for the bulkhead. The rest of that marina was built with Port Commission dollars.
Right. Yeah, I understand that part. But as far as I know, since I've been 20 years old, they always had the Nebby Collins commercial fishing marina. Sure. And the letter I got says for shrimping, fishing, crabbing, and oysterments. So how come we got to accommodate a big company like Chevron on a lift?
I'm going to answer that. Let me answer that.
You gonna go?
I'll answer it. Red All, the reason why we did it is because if somebody gets hurt or something happens, somebody gets mangled, heart attack, that's the quickest place for them to get is to that dock. It's not going to be there forever. It was done for a safety issue. If they go anywhere else, we've checked it out. The ambulance can go right there. It's less than 5 minutes away. If they go to any other dock, it'll take longer. This was basically a move for us for safety. Once the bridge is built, it becomes for the Port Commission for us to put a Harbor Patrol boat there. But the main reason was because if somebody gets hurt, I hope you don't want that in your hands. I don't want it in my hands. That 5 minutes saves a man's life.
I understand that part, and I agree with you on
that's why
anybody's life we can as part of the
and that's why it was done. That's why I wanted. That's why
I want y'all to understand my part.
I understand.
Your shrimper's got a little bitty square.
No, sir.
The
shrimpers they got a big square, but what we taking up, whether it would be for them or not, we would be building us a dock right there for our boat.
I know, but the commercial shrimper, the commercial fishermen, got just a little bitty Nebby Collins Marina. And you know that. It's very small compared to the oil field. And I ain't got nothing against the oil field. My nephews, my sons, they're all in the oil field business too.
And that's the only place, and I'm going to answer this, and I don't want to go, I'm finished after this. That is the commercial fishermen are only people in the port that can park for free. Everybody else that has to park, that has a dock, they have to pay at somebody's dock. But we left that open, and I was one of the big advocates of it to keep it open to make sure nobody take it. But that's the only place in the port where it's free to anybody. Now you can go to the recreation dock, it's only recreation only. But we maintain that for the trawlers to make sure it's free for them to park. And that's why it never will. But we're as the only people in the port who has a free place to park are the commercial fishermen.
And can y'all guarantee me that y'all gonna keep that port, that marina alive strictly for the commercial fishermen?
As long as I'm here, I promise you I'll fight for it.
Anybody else would fight for it?
Yes, we all
Yeah,
would.
we're
all for it.
And just to
No
be
one
clear-
is there to change what the marina was made for. No one on this board. The only thing that happened there was a bridge was taken out. Chevron is across. Because of safety reasons, they came to us. They paid for the lift. They paid the rent in that little corner. They paying everything up front for safety reasons to bring their personnel only in the morning. No equipment. They're running out of other docks for equipment. This is just for their personnel in the morning. And no one on up here, and I'm sure I can speak, wants to get rid of the Nerby College dock.
Okay. But another thing, when Chevron, before that bridge was put there, remember well, Chevron had a little space where they had a boat that they crossed the old Bayou Lafourche in. Was
not on our property.
That was on
That was on another landowner's property.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and y'all don't rent that property no more?
No. No, sir, we don't have that problem at all.
We never had that. Okay, I just want to make sure that y'all
Yes,
don't
sir.
push out the poor commercial fishermen because
As
they're
long as
having
I'm
a
here.
hard time. They're having a very hard time, especially your shrimpers, your crabbers. Oyster people are not doing too bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
It's not gonna happen as long as I'm
Just want to make sure that don't
here.
happen. I just figure I'll bring it up.
Like I told you, I'll fight everything.
Okay, I appreciate that, guys.
And
Thank you
I
very
promise
much.
you, as right here, you know, as long as I'm on here, I will fight for the commercial, and I always did. My family does it. Still got family that does it.
And I got just to promise y'all, if I'm elected, I'll fight with y'all too.
Thank you, sir.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to just remind everyone that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and to please keep those people in your thoughts and hope for a cure. Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone who clarified this project, because they do have some constituents out there who've been questioning me about it. And I know it's a touchy situation, Radar, but it has nothing to do with getting rid of any of the shrimpers or getting rid of that dock for them. So it's a temporary fix for safety reasons only, that's it. So thank you all for clarifying that.
Look, Chevron got enough money where they can build a dock somewhere, you know?
Billy?
I'm Billy Joe Bruni, 115 Eva Lane, Golden Meadow. Ex-tugboat captain, ex-commercial fisherman, and hope to be ex-contract welder one day. But my question to Chad, on section 23 feasibility study, okay, what you commented, deep water port, rig repair, or whatever, you're talking about 50 foot of water. So you're saying in about 4 years, that's what I'm understanding, 4 years, you would have this slip ready for 50 foot, and the dock ready, or about 6
No,
years?
the comments I was
Some kind
making
of
about
time.
that.
I know Randy mentioned the time
The comments I was making about that
and you
was
said
on
couple of years.
was on the LNG.
Okay, but 50, my question is about 50 foot of water.
Okay.
You commented on that. I might have misunderstood. I know when Randy asked you about it, 50 foot of water in the feasibility. You know, as an ex-commercial fisherman and ex-tugboat captain, my question is, it's not from the pass, from the end of the jetties in 50 foot. It's from the end of the jetties out. I'm sure, Randy, you know, you were captain on the tugs, you know. It's got to go southeast coming out the pass. So to get the 50 foot of water in this feasibility study, it's just the pipelines they have. All of this was taken into consideration.
Absolutely.
So how much, that's what I'm asking, how much time frame we look at? Because you're talking about a massive intaking of either removing pipelines or digging pipelines deeper to get to that 50 foot, you know?
Right.
Yes.
So what kind of time frame we'd be looking at as far as an open dock at 50 foot of water? That's my question.
We would hope that in the next year or so, we'd have authorization to move forward. We have to deal with financing. We have to get folks to be willing to rent the dock space. So between 5 and 7 years from now, we would hope to have that in place.
So 5 to 7, okay. Oh, that's good. And as far as like, I know they mentioned free, Chucky mentioned the free public dock.
You know, we had 2 free public docks at one time. We had a tugboat dock, we got a commercial fisherman's dock. Since then, the board decided to do away with the public tugboat dock. I mean, me as a contract welder, I think I came in '04. The board decided to get rid of the tugboat dock. We were doing small repairs. We just went somewhere else and did work. They told us, basically, we didn't want y'all doing the small repairs on the vessels. And then later, y'all got rid of the tugboat dock. So we had 2 free docks, and then now we got 1 free dock. And I guess, you know, there's very few free docks that any commercial vessel can tie up anymore along the Gulf Coast. And it's just, you know, I just see it getting smaller and smaller. So that's basically my comment. So thank you.
And just to clarify too on what I said about 5 to 7 years, that would be completion. We'd hope to start before that.
Right.
Because it takes several years to get this done.
Well, yeah, I heard 4 years, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking to get to 50 foot of water from the end of the pass out going southeast.
It's about 6
I guess
miles.
we have a dog-legged Fouchon because we got a dog-legged Cameron, we got a dog-legged Sabine. Randy knows what I'm talking about, so we're gonna have a dog-legged Fouchon, you know. So that all us ex-captains came in on the dog leg, you know. If you know anything about navigation, that's where we come in where the water was, you know. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chet, just to clarify some of that, how long we've been in this? You know, our first discussion before I was even here was 3, 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, we've
Doing
been
the
working on this study for 2.5 years. So, and talking about it for several years before that. Yeah.
Any other public comment? Me, none. We move on to committee reports for executive committee.
Wait, Mike?
Mike? No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, take it.
Go ahead, I didn't see you. Go.
Come on, Mike.
Good morning. Thank
Morning.
you for allowing me to speak here today. My name is Charles Mike Calais, and I'm running for seat H on the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. I'm a lifelong resident of the 10th Ward, and I'm an LSU graduate with a degree in business management. I'm CEO of Adnan Calais Offshore and a commercial real estate company, and I'm a director of a local bank. I was appointed as an interim member of the Port Commission for 4 months last year after the passing of Mr. Wilbert Collins. I've continued to attend the Port Commission meetings even after my replacement was elected to fill the remainder of the term, so I could stay familiar with the important projects that the Port Commission is working to complete. I serve on the Legacy Hospital Board, and I previously served on the Lafourche Parish Housing Authority Board. I'm a leader in several service organizations, including the Knights of Columbus and the Rotary Club of Golden Meadow, and at my church. I've always been dedicated to serving our local people. Giving back to our community is important to me and my family. As part of that commitment, I'll be donating my entire pay from the Greater Lafourche Port Commission to establish scholarships at Nichols State University for South Lafourche High School students. This will help our local youth to better themselves and in turn better our community. Port Fourchon and South Lafourche Airport are vital to our area, and my experience as an interim port commissioner, as a vessel operator, as a real estate manager, and as a bank director and as a community volunteer, make me uniquely qualified to serve on the Port Commission. I'm committed to working hard to continue the progress of the port, to bring good jobs here, to secure a better future for our families. It would be an honor to use my experience to serve you. I humbly ask for your vote on November 6th for Charles Mike Calais, number 74, for seat H on the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike.
All right, and now we're going to.
You want to?
Yeah.
To executive committee. Members of our parish just hired chairman, Larry Griffin, Chucky Shermy, and John Mellison Jr. First on the agenda is consider approving the request to lease site GLF 189 for a mobile food truck.
So we have a request from the Big Bite on the Bayou LLC to have a small site along Highway 39 and Montesheremy Road to put a mobile food truck. Recommendation is to approve this lease.
Moved by Mr. Gode, second by Mr. Sherman. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, to consider approving the amendment to lease for oceaneering for site GLF 629.
Okay, there was an extension of usage of the 800-foot section for oceaneering. They were originally paying on 450 feet. They have been using the 350 feet since August, so this amendment is to add in that 350 feet and commence that for August 1st, as well as a 400-foot section by 173-foot section of the next 400 feet that's currently completing construction, but they want to start on the land side and developing that. So those amendments, anything else on that, Bryce?
Just as we discussed on Monday, it would allow them to self-insure one of the coverages we require for environmental liability under policy.
So recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Pierce, second by Mr. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the request from Workstrings to include an assignment option in the NOV sublease agreement for site GLF 624.
So this assignment option refers to if, for whatever reason, the main lessee Workstrings would happen to want to leave and the sublessee NOV would want to stay on site, NOV would have the option to receive that assignment from Workstrings immediately.
Moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, we move into Permits and Waterways Committee. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Larry Griffin, Perry Gisclair, and Curtis Pierce. Mr. Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. President. First thing we have is USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service. Borings for North Catfish Lake Marsh Creations. Drilling of a maximum of 105 boreholes, each 3-inch in diameter and 20 to 40 feet in depth. Then we have the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. Proposed Caminada Headlands Back Barrier Marsh Creation Project to create and nourish back marsh project by pumping sediment from an offshore borough site, approximately 542 acres of open water.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
If I could
go
just
ahead.
mention on that project, that is a coastal restoration and protection project.
Yeah.
That'll go a long way to continue to further protection for the camp owners in that area, the eastern side of Port Fourchon and the port itself.
Yes.
So we certainly support that project.
All right. Next, we have Jefferson Parish Public Works Department. Jefferson Parish Public Works proposes the realization expansion of the CPRA long-distance settlement pipeline corridor, the purpose of delivering 3,211,000 cubic yards of native water bottom material from existing burial sources. Then we have the Lafourche Levee District. Proposed installation of field for levee elevation construction of the concrete eye wall and installation of sheet piles and H-piles. And that's all we have for permits, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sherman. Next, we'll move into Construction and Development Committee. Members are Larry Griffin, Chairman, Perry Gisclair, Rodney Gisclair, and Randy Adams. Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. First on the agenda is consider accepting the clear lien certificate from Sun Industry for the taxiway lighting and runway LED upgrades.
This project is complete and punch list items are being completed in the next couple of weeks, so recommendation to approve.
Moved by Mr. Melanson, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next is consider accepting the low bid for the airport access road culvert improvements.
Okay, low bid was Byron Talbot Contractors Incorporated for $436,611. Recommendation to approve.
Moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Gode. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next is consider adopting a resolution approving the DOTD sponsorship agreement for the airport drainage rehab project.
Yeah, this agreement says that DOTD will fund us $132,000 for this project. Recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Pierce, second by Mr. Boudet. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, next is consider adopting a resolution and approving the airport capital improvement program application.
Okay, Richard, earlier in our committee reports, in my executive director's report, explained what our capital improvement plan was. So recommendation is to approve that from that discussion.
Moved by Mr. Goudet, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next is consider accepting the low bid for the Newry Collins Marina boat lift extension.
All right, low bid was Gulf Island Services LLC for $114,267. Recommendation to approve.
Moved by Mr. Gisclair, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next is consider accepting the low bid for replacing the bulkhead and removing the awnings at the public boat launch.
Okay, low bidder was Plaisance Dragline and Dredging for $78,360. Recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Pierce, second by Mr. Goudet. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Mr. President, that completes my report, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Griffin. Next, we move in to Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison Jr., Chairman, Jimmy Gidry, Chris Goudet, and Perry Gisclair. Mr. Mellison.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by considering approving payments of the September 2018 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. And let's begin with item 1, Crosby Dredging LLC, $234,824.95, and that is for Slip C Phase 3 bulkhead. Item 2, American Integration Contractors, $206,772.87, and that's for the GLPC C4 licensing and HIDS radar warranty. Item 3, Aon Risk Services Southwest Incorporated, $143,811.15, and that is for the renewal of insurance premiums. Item 4, Transform YX, $62,110.18. That is for Cisco renewals. Item 5, Sun Industries, $37,306.21, and that is for lighting at the Lafourche Airport. Item 6, Picciola and Associates, $30,404.87, and that is for culvert replacements at the airport, Slip C Phase 3 sweep dredging, and Slip C Phase 3 1,671 linear feet of east bulkhead. Item 7, Vision Communications, $24,865.99, phone, internet, and cable services. Item 8, Epic Aviation, $21,580.48, fuel for resale and truck rental. Item 9, Angelette Picciola, $18,425 for Fouchon Island conceptual development. Item 10, Grand Isle Shipyard Incorporated, $16,478.14, contract labor for FBO and airport maintenance. Item 11, Gobert Oil, $12,708.20, and that is for fuel for vehicles and equipment. Item 12, Bank of America, $12,124.96, port credit card charges. And last, we have HCR Network Technologies LLC, $10,725, and that is for cyber security vulnerability patching on network. That was a big statement there.
Eight-cylinder word.
Yeah. That along with our other costs, it brings us to a total of $1,393,418.84. That's an 8-syllable word.
Yeah.
And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these expenditures.
Moved by Mr. Mellison. Second by Mr. Adams. Moved by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next, as discussed in Monday night's committee meeting, consider approving the September 2018 unaudited financial statements. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next, we have consider approving the out-of-state travel and training request. We have Harbor Police Sergeant Jason Plaisance attending the Street Sergeant Evidence-Based First Line Supervision Course in Tennessee, December 2nd through the 7th. We also have Director of IT, Ms. April Danos, attending the National Maritime Security Advisory Committee meeting in Texas, November 5th through the 7th. And we have Harbor Patrol Officers Aaron Montez and Brooke Angelette attending the RTCA Drugs Investigation Course in Meridian, Mississippi, October 22nd through the 25th. And I'd like to make a motion, we accept these travel and training requests.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Mr. President, this concludes the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Mellison. Any other business?
Mr. President, if I
Go
could
ahead.
just make a quick note that on October 24th is our typical committee meeting in Fourchon. We usually have that committee meeting in Fourchon. That's when it would be. We're going to have that meeting here in Galliano, those committee meetings, because there's actually an annual ethics training in Thibodeau later that day. And instead of driving back and forth there, we'll just have the meeting here so that anyone that wants to attend that ethics training can just leave from here and go to Thibodeau. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Mr. President, I'd like a motion that we adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Sherman, second by Mr. Godier. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.